Hello everyone, Steven here from Redolescence with another fragrance review. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future videos and frequent giveaways by clicking the link down below. So today I am very excited to be sharing with you my thoughts on a brand new fragrance from the house of Thierry Mugler. This is the most recent installment to the Pure line, which is the men's fragrance line, and it is called Angel Men Pure Wood. Now, as you can tell, the presentation that I have in front of me is actually the collector's limited edition version of the fragrance, but if you wish to buy the standard emblematic 3.4 ounce flask of the bottle, you can do so online from a variety of different websites. You can buy it from Mugler.com, MuglerUSA.com, and both of those websites are going to redirect you to the real website, which is MuglerStoreUSA.com. This fragrance was actually released just today, July 15th of 2014, so you can go out and buy it now online. However, if you do wish to purchase this in a department store, you will unfortunately have to wait until September. It does not hit department store shelves until September. So I would recommend you buy it online. This way you can avoid and dodge the wait. So this fragrance, the perfumer, is Jacques Huclier. That is my guess. He is responsible for the original Angel Men, which was released back in 1996. So he should receive credit for the composition. And he has also done very notable subsequent flankers to the original A-Men, which include Pure Havan, Pure Shot, now called Pure Energy, and I believe he's even done B-Men and Icemen. So with this fragrance, with a name like Pure Wood, one would expect this fragrance to contain distinctive and noticeable woodsy notes. However, if you read the adverts for this fragrance, they do read that they wanted to capture the refinement of the original Angel Men and combine it with a distinctive note of coffee. So I'm going to be letting you guys know what I think of this fragrance, but next up, let's take a look at the presentation for Angel Men Pure Wood by Thierry Mugler. Angel Men Pure Wood is only available in one size, and that is the 3.4 ounce flask. And this fragrance is only available in eau de toilette concentration. So here you have the collector's limited edition presentation that I'm going to be using today. As you can tell, it is made out of real wood. It actually looks beautiful. On the back here, you do have a lacquered finish on the back, really well done, really nicely done. And I'm guessing that that is to protect the bark or the striations from coming apart and falling off. Really well done, and that is also indicative of the numeration down here at the bottom, the limited edition. This is 21 out of 25. So you have the 5 to 10 ml decan here in the left with the Thierry Mugler logo engraved in the neck of the atomizer, as you can see here. You have Amen, Pure Wood, Thierry Mugler, and a quirky little description on the fragrance here. You remove the bottle, and that's pretty much what it looks like. Beautiful, beautiful presentation. I am highly impressed with it. So over here for reference, I do have my bottle of Pure Malt. This is what the Angel Men Pure Wood bottle is going to look like, with the exception that I think this star is going to have more of an ambery hue to it, so I think it's going to be more on the orangey side, and the rubber will have designs in it to resemble the bark or the striation that is found in wood, so it will look like it's made out of wood. In case you're interested in seeing the atomization, here it is. The atomizer actually works pretty well, and that has pretty much been the presentation of Angel Men Pure Wood by Thierry Mugler. The notes for Angel Men Pure Wood are oak, cypress, vanilla, patchouli, and coffee. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is that if you read the advertisements for this fragrance, they mention that it is a CO2 extract of the note of oak. Now, CO2 or carbon dioxide is steam distillation, which is the most common method of extraction in perfumery. So what that leads me to believe is that they are using a natural oak note in this fragrance as opposed to a synthetic oak note. And it certainly does smell natural in the opening, and the thing that impressed me the most is that you're able to smell the woodsy nuances from the very opening of this fragrance. And that impresses me because usually woodsy notes are not as volatile. They're they're usually considered base notes in fragrances, which means that you won't smell them until the dry down and until the fragrance has really settled into your skin several hours later. With this fragrance, you smell the woodsy note right away, which gives me the impression that it might be used in a slightly higher concentration, which is a good thing. Now, I don't smell too much cypress, I have to be honest. In my experiences with the note of cypress, it has a very aromatic feel to it, but it's also very mossy. So I tend to associate it with the note of oak moss. And oak moss and cypress are used quite commonly in older fragrances, and they give off a very dated and a very mature feel to it. So for that reason, I'm actually quite happy that this fragrance doesn't have a strong cypress note to my nose, and it still smells very youthful, very playful, and still very contemporary. There's also this really nice note of coffee that I think adds a great deal of warmth to the composition, and it's also sweet. Now, the listed sweet note in this fragrance is the note of vanilla. Now, it definitely smells sweet to me, but I don't know if I can attribute all of that sweetness to the note of vanilla. Because this fragrance is a little bit smoky to me, I think that there's another resinous oriental note in the dry down of this fragrance known as benzoin. Now, benzoin is a tree resin, and it smells like a smoky vanilla. So I think that that's really what's giving off that smoky sweetness, and I think that the smokiness works in conjunction with the woodsy notes very well, and it gives off a very good balance to the composition. Now, of course, it also contains the note of patchouli. If you're familiar with the original Angelman as well as all of the other flankers, I should say, you are going to be very familiar to the smell of the patchouli that's used in this fragrance. And it does give forth like a very damp, green, almost herbaceous quality to the composition. And I think that really contributes in this fragrance's oriental classification part of it. So of course you do have the rough and the woodsy, if I dare even say masculine nuances of the fragrance, but then you also have the sweet, very sensual oriental nuances of this fragrance. Now, will this fragrance get you a compliment? I have not received an unsolicited compliment wearing this fragrance, but I had other people smell it and they really did like it. They told me it reminds them of a fireplace, it reminds them of eating something sweet out in the woods, perhaps in front of a campfire. And everybody had already made that association without me telling them what the note breakdown is or showing them the collector's edition display so as to not influence their thinking, so that they can give me an impartial take. And I think that this is a great fragrance. It probably will get you compliments, but I think it's just a little bit less polarizing than the original Angelman. I think the original Angelman is very polarizing, especially because of that dreaded tar note that everybody talks about. I think this one, because it is a little bit more on the daring side, I think it would work best in the fall season. I think that because of its creative risks that are taken, this one would work a little bit better in the fall, but I don't think it's going to appeal to everyone. Even though I think it's a great fragrance, I would highly recommend you sample before you buy it. Now, if I were to make a comparison between this fragrance and another fragrance from the Angelman line, I don't think this one smells a great deal like the original Angelman. Perhaps the oriental nuances, yes, but if I were to make a comparison, I would have to compare it to Thierry Mugler's Angelman Pure Malt. That is the closest fragrance that I think this fragrance smells like. But again, I want you to keep in mind that this is a fragrance all in its own, and it is actually very worthy of being a flanker. I think in today's society, a lot of flankers are money grabs. They just add sport to the name, add some generic synthetic citrus at the top of the original composition, and they rebrand it so that it can sell in the summer. I think that this is actually a very justifiable take on a flanker, and this has already become, if not my favorite, definitely one of my favorite Angelman flankers. Last up, we have the rating. Thanks. First up, we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I ended up giving Amen Pure Wood a 9 out of 10. I think that this is a great smell. I love the combination of the sensual notes and the rough notes, the woods and the oriental aspects. I like the fact that there were creative risks taken with this fragrance, and it's not the typical flanker that you would expect in today's designer industry. I think that this is a great fragrance, it's a great smell, and it's the perfect addition to the Amen line. Next up we have longevity. I give this fragrance a 7 out of 10. I don't think that the longevity of this fragrance is quite as good as the original Angel Men, which is a powerhouse and it will get you 12 plus hours on your skin every time. This one still performs above average for an eau de toilette concentration, but it's still within the 6 to 8 hour range, so I averaged it out to a 7 out of 10. Next up we have projection. I ended up giving it a 6 out of 10. Still, I don't think the projection is quite as good as the original Angel Men. I think that this one is not going to give you quite as large of a scent bubble as the original Amen does, but I do think it will lift up off your skin, and especially if you are in a close encounter scenario, you are definitely going to get noticed. I just don't think it's quite going to give you the same sillage or scent trail. If you're walking past someone or if you're entering a room, you won't get as noticed. So with this one, you can actually feel free to apply liberally and it won't do any harm. Next up we have versatility. I gave this fragrance a 7 out of 10. Now I know as well as the original Angel Men, the debate was whether or not it's a unisex fragrance because of all those oriental and sweet qualities. I think the same thing goes with this fragrance. I think it's marketed for men. It could be worn by both genders, and I think that this one would actually work a little bit better in the fall season. For some reason the woods and the oriental notes really have an autumnal evocation for me. I just don't think it would work really well in the dead of winter, but because of its airy and wispy qualities, I think this one could be pulled off in the summer and the spring as well, perhaps on a cooler summer night. I think that this could work on a variety of different social scenarios. This one could definitely be worn casually because of its affordability. It could be worn on a night out because of its sweet qualities. It would also work really, really well in a shirt and tie or suit and tie, a formal scenario. Versatility is really good on this fragrance. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Last up, we have the presentation. I am of course grading both this presentation and the 3.4 ounce flask, for which I have seen pictures online with the striations in the wood. I think it looks very nice, very well executed. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for presentation. And overall, I'm going to give Angel Men Pure Wood by Thierry Mugler a 9 out of 10. I think that this is a great fragrance, great balance of notes, really different, creative risks taken, really bold, it stands out, it's very wearable, and I think that it is a very sensual and a very addictive scent. I would highly recommend that everybody go out there and try this fragrance. If you don't mind the performance, not being quite as strong as the original Angel Men, I think that the smell is so novel and rich and really just a sigh of relief that you will enjoy this one just as much, if not more. So again guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my review of Thierry Mugler's Angel Men Pure Wood. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe for future videos and frequent giveaways. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment or shoot me a message, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. So again guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Stephen with another fragrance review from Redolessence. See you soon.